September 2024. We had fell all the way back to 2,000 a month.
And how much did you do last month?
I think we're right at $15,400 with another in the pipeline that could put us at 20,000.
Let's go, dude. From $2,000 to $3,000 a month to $20,000 a month, man.
Yeah,
That
sponsor
is
us, Grant
insane.
Cardone, 10X.
10X, buddy. Let's freaking go, dude. That's so amazing.
I started working with Luis last September, and was kind of new to the agency space. Maybe had about a year under my belt, and was getting a lot of clients. Great views, shares and comments and things like that. And I felt like I understood that, but I think one of the things that I always lacked is I lacked the confidence to actually get clients results. And whenever I was there, I just didn't have confidence going into meetings, sales calls, things like that, because I didn't know if I could get them results. I know that I could get them good quality videos. I can get them the 4K videos. It would look good. It would feel good. It would smell good. But, if you're not getting results, you're working with business owners, they tend to look at ROI. And when you can't get ROI, you can't get predictable ROI, you tend to have clients churn. And whenever I started working with Luis, he kind of gave me the blueprint, the system, the framework, the formula, and overall, I feel like Luis gave me my confidence back.
Let's go, dude. And now that you have your confidence back, where were you at revenue wise, and where are you at now?
Ooh, this is embarrassing. September 2024. We had fell all the way back to 2,000 a month with a couple, one-offs that will put us, maybe $3,500 a month.
And how much did you do last month, dude?
I can do the calculations, but I think we're right at $15,400 with another in the pipeline that could put us at. I think it's going to potentially put us a little over 20,000.
Let's go, dude. From $2,000 to $3,000 a month to $20,000 a month, man.
Yeah, sponsor us, Grant Cardone, 10X.
10X, buddy. Let's freaking go, dude. That's so amazing. Well, hey, Jordan, thanks so much for jumping on, man. I love doing, getting people on, obviously, the YouTube channel when it comes to these success interviews, because it means you made it. And I know that one of your goals was to be on the channel, dude. So congratulations, brother.
It was a journey, but we did it.
Yes, man. Well, dude, first of all, congratulations. I'm super pumped to have you here, man. When you hit me up, you told me you guys had just blasted off to the moon. To me, obviously, that's one of the most fulfilling things, doing what I do. What I want to do today is I want to give the audience kind of a little bit of backstory, kind of what were you doing before then? What kind of motivated you to jump on with FOD? What was some of the journey of being in FOD, and some of the realizations that you had, some of the struggles, some of the wins, and then kind of where you're at right now, right? So you've done really well, but it didn't start off that way. We had some challenges, different things like that. So that was a really cool journey there. Take us back a little bit. Tell us a little bit about what your agency did, your video business. And then I guess what motivated you to jump into FOD to begin with?
Yeah. So, before seeing your ad, your dad's ad, incredible ad, by the way. I am a videographer who is a dad who was not crazy enough. I didn't have time or money. Normally you have one or the other, but I didn't have either. Something was messed up. But before I seen your ad, kind of where we were, we had we had one retainer client that we had been getting good results, with e-commerce, things like that. But they understood, the power of branding and things like that. And they could play the long game, right? So organic, sometimes it takes sometimes you can get good, fast results. For the most part, you're looking at 6, 7, 8 months of investment before you see that results. However, that was our only client. And that was $2,000. Luckily, we, that was a journey. We'll save that story for another day. But the big thing that I was doing is, I did other courses, other programs, and I had systems and things like that in place, but I really didn't have a formula to get client results. And I knew I could give them great videos, great content. It would look good and all that stuff. But whenever you go in and you're asking somebody, for, a $2,500 or $3,500 package, and you don't know if you can really deliver results. I mean, I don't know. Maybe some people are okay with that, but I just morally couldn't say, hey, man, you should sign up for this $3,500 package that may or may not deliver.
Yeah.
And that started weighing on me because, like, as an agency owner, I don't want to just sign people up to say I'm at my 10K month, I'm at my 20K month. It's like, dude, I want to get these people results. These are business owners with family and things like that. And I just didn't know how to do it. And I kind of started thinking through the lens of like, hey, maybe I could run ads and get some predictability with some of these things.
Yeah.
But then the next gap was I don't know how to run ads. I don't know how to. I also don't want to hire a client or bring on a client. I don't know how to run ads either. So that's when I found your video, and I think basically what you said. Hey, are you a dad who's also a videographer? Who I forgot how you phrased it, but it was speaking my language of like, hey, I want to have an agency that truly, genuinely helps people drive results through ads. And I think you call it like the ad content model.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's what it's called. Ad content agency model. Let's go. Yep. Dude. And I'm so glad I resonated with you. I mean, because I think for me, the biggest thing is like, I know who I like working with. The reason why I call out dads in my content is because typically I love the fact that when you're building a business, you're building it for like with a means to an end.
Yeah.
And my intention with that is that like, dude, you should build a business and you should build a business that serves you, but also your clients, right? But in turn with that, it gives you the life that you want so that you can spend more time with your family. You can travel more. You can focus on other things you're passionate about, different things like that. And I feel like the people that are well positioned for that, the people that are not more so about family and not just making a ton of money, are people who already kind of like lived life a little bit. Maybe they're married and they're living for something that's bigger than just the money. Yeah. And I feel like you need, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, you need to have a why. And typically the best why is you providing for your family as well. So that's more of the behind the scenes as to why I love working with that type of person, and AKA yourself. But yeah, man. And then, at the end of the day, it boils back down to, if you want to keep your clients, you have to get them a result. So there's that other facet to it as well. So yeah, I remember, we had a call. I remember, us going through this stuff. I remember you had talked about, you had like a real estate or brokerage client too, that you had, it was like a pretty big client. But then if I recall correctly, like maybe you guys kept them on for a few months, but you ended up losing them, right? Just because of like that same thing, like we couldn't generate results. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, he was it's like, man, I love the videos. Everybody tells me they like the videos, but it's like, man, it's not paying, we weren't getting them a result. And it's like, dude, you're my guy. Like, we are actually decent friends. And I'm like, I'll be honest with you, man. I totally get it. I totally get it.
Yeah, 100%. That's the thing. Like, I mean, I already said it, but it's like, dude, if you wanna keep your clients, and especially when it comes to retainers, because a lot of people, like, you can do the one-time projects and that's fine. Like, you can always do like a 10K, 20K project here and there. But really, the holy grail of any business is being able to have monthly recurring revenue. Like, that takes the stress off the shoulders. You know what I mean? Like, how much money you're going to be making every month. You can make better decisions when it comes to bringing on staff, purchasing software, purchasing equipment, because how much money you're going to be making every single month. Yeah. But the caveat is, like, if you want to sell retainers, a lot of people just sell a content retainer. And it's like, that's cool. But the reality is that, dude, if you don't have some kind of element in there where you're actually going to generate a result, well, guess what? They'll stay with you for 2 to 3 months and then they're going to churn, man. And then most people don't have any kind of acquisition pipeline either to be getting clients on a consistent basis. Dude, I'll tell you right now, keeping clients is better than getting new ones. And so, and so if you can keep the only way you'll be able to keep your client is if you figure out some kind of strategy to, help them get a result so you can help them afford you for the long term. So, okay. So I remember having this exact conversation with you, right? You decided to jump on in, what kind of was there something specific that like pushed you over the edge? You're like, dude, I just know I need to do this. Or were you just already sure?
Where I was this is how I weighed it. Is I said, I'm going to be on this hamster wheel. And like at this point, my wife had already seen me. It's like working long hours, day in, day out, day in, day out. And I genuinely wanted to serve people, but I just didn't know how to piece it all together. It's like I felt like I had all the pieces to the puzzle. It's just like I needed somebody to like show me the box so that I can actually start piecing together the puzzle pieces.
Oh yeah, yeah, 100%. I
And
love that.
I feel like that's kind of what you gave me. We'll
Was
go
there
ahead
like
and
a
talk about.
specific thought when you were just like, okay, dude, like I'm just gonna jump in on this?
Well, this is what I asked myself. I said, if I don't do this, where am I going to be at?
Mm.
The rest of this year is going to look exactly like the last year. I've never experienced. I didn't know what depression was. Like I hear everybody talk about it, and I was like, I don't know what y'all are talking about. Maybe y'all just need some pre-workout or something. But a year of not getting client results, not having predictability, providing for a wife and 3 kids, and you just kind of come to the end of yourself. You're like, dude, I've got all these skill sets, but it's just not working.
Mhm.
And that's so, and that's kind of, I was like, dude, I could just invest this money. I can follow, and like, you've got the results.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, dude, I'm just going to join the program. Luis has the results. He's done exactly what I want to do. It's like the worst thing that could happen is I'm out a little bit of money, and I've figured out how to run ads. When I weigh those 2 options, I'm like, well, I'm definitely not going to keep doing what I'm doing over here, because I feel like I understand depression now. Like,
Yeah.
and jumped in the program and started following the system. And I don't know, maybe you can kind of tee me up with some questions with.
And like, dude, first of all, you're exactly right. Like, I feel like when we talked, I'm like, dude, this guy already has all the pieces. He just needs a little bit of direction into like how to put them together so you can get to where you want to go. Because if anybody goes and looks at Jordan's stuff, I mean, his stuff is amazing. Like the guy's super creative. The quality of the work is just, I mean, look at his camera right now. Like, it looks amazing, right? So I'm like, dude, this guy can make videos that grabs people's attention. He just needs a system in the back end to channel that correctly so that he can actually help his clients get results. Because it's not, when it, like, he already knows how to use a camera, he knows how to make people look good, and he knows how to grab people's attention with his content. He just needs a system in the back end to like turn that into actual ROI. And so I already knew you were going to crush it like from the beginning, because again, it was just like getting those systems in place. But walk me through your end, right? Like, obviously, okay, you come in and you're like, obviously, maybe this stuff is new. Did it feel overwhelming? Like, were you excited, or like, walk me through like the early first few weeks of kind of jumping into the program?
Yeah, man. So like, I'd already been researching, certain softwares and things like that. You mentioned that you used, and like, before, it was definitely overwhelming because I'm like, I don't know how to piece this software together with the agency, but I feel like it could work.
Sure.
And so I'd already started having some experience with the software that you use. But man, like, you gave us the templates, you gave us the frameworks. I mean, I had my first test client. I feel like I got my first test client really fast.
Yeah, you did.
And with me having just a little bit of experience and then implementing your, the templates and the snapshots that you give us. I don't know, man. I don't think I wasn't overwhelmed. More than anything, I think I watched 3 or 4 videos in your modules, and I was like, oh shoot, this isn't confusing at all. It's like you take every like agency video, trimmed off all the fat, and put it in modules. Like, I think most of them are like 10, 15 minutes long.
Yeah.
I remember watching like 3 or 4 of the modules. I'm like, oh shoot, this is what he's doing. This is simple.
Yeah.
And then you give us, the templates. Like I said, the templates, all that stuff. I don't know, man. Pretty early on, and I don't know if everybody, maybe I had a little bit of experience, but I mean, we were able to get our first trial client rocking and rolling within 7-8 days. So you made that process very simple.
Yeah, like I remember having the game plan call, and it was just like, once you kind of got that direction, it's like, and that was one of the things that I loved about you kind of coming on, is that you're a self-starter and you just took action, dude. You're like, didn't doubt the process. Like, I think it all just makes sense for you. And you just like dove head first and you just took massive action, which I always tell people all the time, like, look, dude, if you want to be successful as an entrepreneur, you don't need to be the smartest person ever. You know what I mean? Like, I'm definitely not. But the 2 characteristics that I would say are the most important is that you got to be fast and you got to be stubborn. Fast means that you just don't overthink things, you just execute. And stubborn means that, hey man, even though you might fail, you get back up again and you try and you keep trying.
Yeah.
It's like that's it, and I felt like that was exactly what you did. You took action, and even when maybe you didn't know something, you asked a question, you got direction, and you just went like full steam ahead, which I thought was like, really, really cool. I remember telling Dan, my business partner in the program, I'm like, dude, Jordan's gonna crush it here pretty soon.
Thanks
So I'm
for
excited to see
having
that.
faith. You had long, persistent faith in me. Thank you, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, for
It started
sure.
hot, but then we cooled down a little bit.
Yeah, so like I think you started doing well, and like you started doing some really cool stuff for some clients. Like the videos that you always produce were like really, really good. I remember like already like 2 or 3 months into the program, I was like, bro, like you understand the process, you understand the system, but like I feel like you're lacking a little bit of conviction, right? Or I don't know what it was. It was like I was like, dude, like, is there a reason why you're not just like double down on this and just like spend a ton of money on that so you can bring on a ton of clients and like scale this to the moon already? Like, walk me through a little bit of like what was going on in your head during that time, and like because I felt like I think I remember telling you like, dude, I feel like you're holding yourself back. Like, what's going on here?
Yeah. So yeah, man. Early on, you got one of the first things you tell us to do was like, hey, like stop. Don't go crazy about the niche and all that stuff. Like find like 3 niches and like just do a test. Like run the play. Here's the playbook. Run the play and see who you like working with the most.
Yeah.
And we did that with a personal trainer, and we did get some results, but we didn't really see the fruit of those results for 3 or 4 months down the road. So like I started implementing some of this stuff, and like transparently, I was lacking confidence because I'd went a whole year, I'd signed these clients, and I just didn't feel like I was able to deliver the goods.
Sure.
I'm not good at faking it. Like a lot of people on Instagram, it's like, I'm the man, It's
Yeah,
like, dude, if I can't get you a result, I'm not going to have confidence.
for sure.
And where it flipped is I just kept running the play that you gave us. And I finally got a call from the gym owner that you helped me land the trial
Yeah.
client. And he said, hey, bro, I just, from the leads that you've been giving me, I've been super busy, so I haven't been able to update you, but I've signed 40 new personal training clients.
What?
I said, what? And like I, stand up out of my chair, and like I don't know how to do any of that. Like and I'm not saying this because it's it's a video for FOD,
Yeah.
but like literally I didn't know how to do any of this stuff. Like I literally I may have even like left the dental part in the Facebook form. Like I didn't know what I was doing, but I ran the Facebook form exactly how you told me to do it.
Yeah.
And we just ran it, and we only had like a $20 a day budget.
Yeah.
And he basically called me, and he basically told me, is like, man, just a few months ago, I hired this agency. The gym was not doing good. That forced me and my wife's marriage to kind of it's a little bit rocky.
Wow.
But with you giving me this, and I talked to his wife, and she was like, I don't know what you did. Whatever you did, you gave my husband his dream back.
Wow.
And
Dude.
And that's whenever it hit. So the first thing that I needed was competence, which is what you gave me. Because you can't be confident without competence.
Yeah.
And whenever I got that phone call, I said, whoa, we're not just, 10K a month agency, 20K a month agency. It's like, if you follow this playbook, you can literally start to change other people's lives, their family's life. And it moved from like, I don't know. That's where the conviction came from.
Yeah.
Because I needed to see the results. It took me a little bit to see the results, but once I got that phone call, I was like, oh my gosh, this works. I don't really know what I'm doing, but I can lean on Luis because I know he's done it before.
Yeah.
And I can hit him up if I'm, losing my brain, which I did more than a few times. And that's where it flipped. Is it's like it's just, I don't know. It just comes back to service.
100%.
I now feel like I can serve my clients
Yeah.
at a certain level, and that's
Yeah.
where my confidence comes from.
Dude, like, you hadn't told me this story. And so it makes me just feel really, really good just hearing it for the first time, because that's why I'm so passionate about the ads. because like it's not only transformational for yourself, but it's transformational for your clients, right? And so, my story, but like, for those of you who don't, right? Like I had an agency all the way since I was 21. So this is literally 2010. Okay. And till 2015, no, I think it was more so 2016. So 6 years of business. It was literally hustle, grind, 16-hour days, 7 days a week, sleeping under my desk, sometimes only eating one meal a day because we couldn't afford it, and chasing clients, not having any predictable way of bringing on clients, right? And then did the whole, like same thing as everybody else, right? Like BNI groups, events, cold calling, cold email, like, referrals. Like, dude, it is the suckiest thing in the world. You know what I mean? Like, it's the worst. Like, for me, more so because I'm an introvert. So, I just hated doing all those things, I had to force myself to do it. And then all of a sudden, when I figured out how to run ads and get people to come to me, it's like, what? I didn't know this was possible, dude, and then also being able to do that for my clients. Yeah. And this is why I tell people, I'm like, dude, if you learn the skill of acquisition, which is paid ads and sales, you'll never go hungry because you'll know how to make money for yourself. Not only that, you'll also make money for other people. And guess what? Everybody else has this problem. Everybody, and the biggest problem that exists in the marketplace is that people don't know where the next client's going to come from. So if you can help them with that, dude, it's transformational.
Yep.
And that's what's so cool, because there's always the internal and the external, right? It's like the external is like, dude, I want to make more money. The internal is giving this guy his dream, helping him with his marriage. You know what I mean? Like, that's the real stuff. And I feel like as part of being a business owner and what you're doing, it's like you're helping people have breakthrough in their lives, and that's what, like, I get super pumped up about that. And obviously it's like you guys are getting that, but you guys then get to experience that, as well, by helping your clients too, which is like so freaking cool, man. So freaking cool, dude. Amazing.
Yeah, man. And then what was crazy about that is, like, once you start getting results for those clients, like that one, that first client, he basically tells me now, it's like, dude, if you got any client that's hesitant, give him my personal number and I'll vouch. And like, sure enough, awesome. Through that client, we just landed a dental office. So
hell yeah. So walk me through. Okay. So like, you had this one client. That's great. Like, how did all of a sudden you get to like 15, 20K? Like, how did walk us through that?
It actually, a lot of it comes back to to that first trial client, man.
Yeah.
I mean, crazy enough, like, we started getting them pretty good results. Like, I will say this, I'm not necessarily a videographer first. I've always I come from like a business owner background. So kind of marketer first. So like, I felt like I understood messaging, things like that, but I didn't know how to piece it all together. So what we did is we made this video campaign for this business owner, and like, we were getting him leads for like less than $1 per lead.
Yeah.
Like, crushing it. Well, then he starts actually closing. Like I said, he gets 40 new clients.
Are we talking about the gym or gym owner?
This is the gym guy.
Okay, got it.
The gym guy, his wife works for a dental office. She's hearing all these results.
Yeah.
She said, we need leads. Like, we want this too. And so, that's a pretty warm introduction, right?
Yeah.
So we had that introduction. So that, trial client, and that's a playbook from your, a play from your playbook. That's the first thing you say. Hey, take action, get your test client, get your confidence.
Yeah.
And then from there, I'm having a hard time keeping up with all the clients. We ran the authority, what's the ad?
Yeah, the social funnel.
The social funnel, right? That landed us a physical therapy client. That was the easy close, because I'm like, hey, dude, does ad work? Do ad work? Ads work? Yeah, like, look at us.
Here we are having
this conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's that one. And what ended up happening is people just, I continue to upload content like you teach. It's just, hey,
Yeah.
be consistent. If you're preaching content, you should probably be doing content yourself. And that was another thing. So what ended up happening is I kept uploading content even whenever like I was sucking wind, but I just kept sowing good seed. I kept trying to add value. Kept trying to say, hey, if you're stuck here, here's some things that I would do. And 4 weeks ago, there's been a lot of people consuming this stuff.
Yeah.
And I think it was one Thursday, and a guy calls me up and he said, hey man, I've been watching your stuff for the last like 3, 4, 5 months. I'm not going to anybody else but you, and it's time for my company to start doing this stuff. How soon can we get started? I'm like, oh, shoot, this is cool. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll schedule. Let's get it going, because I was still, we needed some business.
Yeah. Who was this?
This was a local door and window company.
Got it. Nice.
Yep. So we're filming them next week, and then what else? What else happened from there? One of our one-off clients, I was able to share some testimonials from the gym client, from the test client, another success story.
Yeah.
And he was like, dude, I've got another potential client for you that's a roofing company. Would you be open to sitting down with them? Because I love these results that you're getting. This is crazy. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's sit down. And by this point, I'd kind of been getting my reps in. I understood Go High Level in the back end system, the automations.
Yeah.
So I'm like, heck yeah, like I've got my reps in. I went through the fire, I went through the valley, I went through like, maybe I should just go get a 9 to 5 and throw this all away. But I got my reps in, got my confidence up. And whenever I sat down with them, they were like, hey, I've been seeing your stuff. It's a no-brainer. Like, can we get started next week? So I think it was like, a lot of it was just getting in the reps.
Yeah.
So I can get my confidence.
Yeah.
And then as I get in the reps, we started actually getting client results, which, I get even more confidence.
Yeah.
And now we've actually kind of got a streamlined system. I mean, all the stuff's your playbook, like all the follow-up text.
Yeah.
It's literally to a T. Like I adjust a little bit, but it's what you've given us is like a duplicatable system. I mean, technically it's service-based businesses. I mean, at the end of the day, it's still service-based businesses.
Yeah.
But you give us the formula, and it works for roofing companies, construction companies, dental companies, gym companies. And it's like, dude, I'm not that smart. I know Luis didn't say he was smart, but I think he's pretty smart. So I just, implemented the playbook, and we're getting things rocking. So, and that's kind of how we went from just staying in the game long enough and getting in the reps. I feel like was the secret sauce.
Dude, it's so good, man. Like I tell people all the time, it's like, look, why would you want to reinvent the wheel? It's like, there's people out there that already figured it out. Like, why not just go get close to them? You know what I mean? Like, pay them to teach you, dude. Like, and like, I'm not even telling you people to come pay me. It's like, you can go pay anybody you want. Like, that's exactly how it works. Like, if you admire someone and they're doing exactly the same thing you're doing, doesn't matter what it is. It could be like learning how to play guitar or something. You know what I mean? Like, go pay that guy to teach you what he knows, right? Like, all you're doing is shortening the gap between like how long it takes you to actually learn. Because this guy already went through the fire. This guy already figured it all out. Like, he's going to give you the cheat codes. And that's what I say all the time. It's like getting the cheat codes, to life and business or whatever it is you want, And so that's how I've always just applied myself. Because like for me, it was literally a decade of just fumbling the ball, like since I moved out of my house at 18 till I didn't really start making money until I was 28, and it's like, and I was like pretty much broke that entire time. Right. And dude, it freaking sucks. Like, it is not fun, and I'm just like, man, like, not that I think it would take anybody a decade, like, obviously I think there's way more resources and online education now, like on YouTube, to figure this stuff out. But like, would you want to just figure it out in 4 months? Or do you want to take like, a year or 2 or 3 or however long to figure it out on your own? Like, dude, come on. Like, it's a no-brainer,
Yeah.
And like, I tell people, like, so emulate, then innovate.
Yeah.
And like, and dude, I love the fact that you just took action on it. Like, you didn't question it. You're just like, here it is. Let me just do it. And then, and then like, you've been adding your own sauce, which is cool. Cause like, obviously, like the videos you guys create are just so freaking good, which is awesome. And I love it, man. I love hearing the transformation. Like, tell me a little bit about, so like, okay, you started getting these results, started making more money. You've obviously gained more confidence, right? How has that even just transformed you, on like on a deeper level, on a more internal level? Like, how do you feel now that you're kind of just like gaining a lot more traction?
So I think the big transformation for me, like on a personal level, whenever we started the agency a year and a half ago, and I guess this is kind of for my married guys out there. I think most men, kind of pitch a dream to their wife, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like we want to provide the best life for our wives and kids. Well, I've got younger kids. I guess technically, my daughter, she'll be 10 in April,
Well,
so she kind of understands. But
yeah,
you kind of give them this dream of like, hey, we're going to be able to take these trips and vacations and things like that. And when you're stuck at a few $1,000s a month for 2 years, you start to lose your confidence, and that dream kind of starts to lose its fire.
yeah,
You can't really talk about that dream as much with your wife, and you almost start to wonder, if if you got what it takes,
yeah.
or if you should go get that 9 to 5, because the entrepreneur life is a little bit tougher than what you think. What this last month has allowed me to do is to be able to look at my wife in the eyes again with confidence and say, hey, like all those things that we talked about, the trips, the memories, you're going to have options being married to me. I'm not this, broke. I'm not going to be this broke guy who's depressed and like wondering if I'm ever going to be enough.
Wow.
I started getting that confidence back, and I'm able to be the husband, the dad. I've been working pretty hard. It is
Yeah.
been working decently hard, but at the same time, I've got a trooper of a wife, so shout out to Courtney.
Yeah, man.
But that's what is changed for me is I'm confident that I can get client results. I'm confident that not only are we going to help clients' business, but we're going to help, just like the example that I gave earlier, we're transforming other people's lives through what we're doing. It's crazy to say that, but we are.
Yeah.
But from a personal level, from business aside, it's like, man, what FOD is kind of giving me back, and obviously your mentorship, and shout out to the community too. That's one of the things that we haven't talked
Dude.
about at all,
Yeah.
which is major. What all of this has kind of given me is it's really given my family our dream back, that we can really make this happen again.
Dude. That's so awesome, man. Thanks for sharing that, man. That means a lot. Um, yeah, man. I don't even know what to say. Like,
Yeah.
it's so
Dude,
freaking good, dude.
it's weird, man. Yeah, all you see is the highlights on Instagram,
Yeah, for
I feel
sure.
like, and it's definitely a journey. It's definitely not like a walk in the park,
Yeah.
but sticking it out, and like, let's go back maybe to the community if I can real quick.
Yeah, shoot.
Dude, there was like I'll be honest, there were some weeks where we would jump on our calls and like somebody else was going through it. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yes, I'm not the only one. And that just like sometimes I just kind of needed that to make it to the next week.
Yeah.
And dude, I mean, that was huge, and that just kind of kept me in the game long enough. And I just try to keep showing up, even
Yeah.
like busted, like kind of playing hurt, if you will.
Sure. When I bring people on, I'm like, hey man, you're gonna get mentorship from me. But honestly, the community is like so much better. like, I mean, obviously getting mentorship is cool, and like, there's a ton of value in that. But like there's just something about being part of a community where everybody's the same as you, same values, same interests, all working towards the same thing. And what I love about the community is that it's not a huge community where you just feel like you're just a number in it. Like it's small enough where it's intimate, and people feel vulnerable enough to share not just the wins but also the losses, like you were saying.
Yep.
And dude, it's through the vulnerability where you can actually like connect with people, right? And because of that connection, like you said, like, oh dude, it allowed me to go like an extra week,
Yep.
and just keep pushing, because yeah, I mean, like everybody's struggling, but we know there's a light at the end of the tunnel because there's other guys a few steps ahead of us that have already gone through this, and like they're on the other side, right? And so there's a little bit of everything, and so I love the community, man. It's great. Like,
I'll interject really fast because this is one of the things. Ads, like nothing's ever guaranteed.
Yeah.
Like you may initially like run the ad and like something kind of be jacked up a little bit.
Yeah.
And dude, just like being able to jump into the Slack, like I remember like because we crushed first trial client.
Yeah.
And then we did have like we brought on one client and like the first week it was like not good. And I was like, oh crap, I suck again. And I was like, shoot, I just need to hit up the Slack channel. And they're like, oh yeah, dude, just either you or Dan, or I would have somebody, even Rob, different people in the group. It's like, hey dude, it's easy. Just kind of tweak this or maybe add another question to qualify the lead a little bit more.
Yeah.
And whenever we'd make those tweaks, it's like, oh, I don't suck, I guess.
Well, that's what I tell people all the time with the community. It's like, look, man, like when you join FOD, like you are part of this collective now where it's just like, you're not alone. And when it comes to the ads, like it's so easy to be like, dude, I've never run ads before. You feel really insecure. I'm like, dude, like I always tell people like, think like a business owner. A business owner hires people based off their deficiencies. And so you don't have to be the best at everything. You don't have to be a baller at ads. Know that there's a team behind you, AKA the collective, me included, right? And collectively, we all have years of experience and we're all backing each other up, And I think that's what's so cool about being part of that, something like that, is that like you can borrow their confidence, you can borrow their beliefs, and like a lot of you being successful in business is what's going on in here and in here in the sense that your confidence, right? Yeah. And so, dude, like that's why I always tell people like, dude, like it's a really undervalued thing because you don't really appreciate it until you experience it. And then you're like, I get it now, Yeah. And it's so freaking good, man. So yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. Let me ask you a little bit about like, when you're providing the service for the client, are you doing like the content plus ads, or for some clients, you're just doing the ads and like filming the ad content? Like what are you selling the most of right now? Are you selling a little bit of both, or how's that experience been like?
Yeah. So right now it's a little bit of both. Okay. I will tell you what I really like is the ad package that you like one of your first modules you talk through. Because 1, you get paid, 2, you get predictable results, 3, you get your time back, which is is doing 80 videos a month. It's like, dude.
Well, that was one of the things I know we talked about, because you said like, I remember you talking about this broker that was like your client, and I'm like, how many videos are you guys doing for you guys? I can't remember what you said, but you definitely said something in the double digits, and I'm like, dude. And so like one of the really cool things about FOD, and kind of obviously a lot about what I preach, I'm like, dude, like if you go down this path where you're just creating content, I call it the content creation hamster wheel, right? Like you get stuck in this place where you have to do 10 reels of 20 reels a month for X client. And then if you want to be making decent money, it's like you have to have 10 clients, and then 10 times 20, it's 200 videos a month, man. Like, oh my gosh, dude, like how many editors do I need to have to meet that demand, to then like make sure I'm managing everybody correctly, and like making sure that like I'm just not stressed out. And I feel like that's a lot what happens. These people build the business wrong to begin with, and then they burn out, and then they like just like, screw it, I'll just go back to a 9 to 5, or they hate the craft, right? Which is why they started this in the begin with, because they love the art form, And so that's why I'm like, dude, if you can just make film to make ads, and you get away from having to make a ton of content every month, which is just straight up the ad content model, it's going to give you your time back. And on top of that, it's so trippy, because people think that in order to make more, they need to do more. In this case, you do less, and you're actually making more, but not just that, your clients make more too.
Yeah. I keep bringing this trial client up with the gym. I didn't want to, film a whole bunch of ad videos. Yeah. I was like, shoot, I'm just going to do what Luis is telling me to do, and I'm just going to film him one video. I'll script it, I'll film it, I'll edit it. We did one video and added 40 paying monthly recurring gym members. Dude. It took, yeah, I was in and out of the gym. I made the script and offer maybe about 30 minutes to an hour. I filmed it for 30 minutes. I edited for about 2 hours, and then I implemented your system for a few hours, and that was the results.
Dude.
And I'm like, dang, we were getting this results work, the real estate brokerage. So it was 40 videos. So our contract was 40 videos. We weren't getting those. Now, obviously it's real estate, so it's a little bit different, but still one video, one script.
And this is why I love this, because like once you experience it, you're like, dude, what was I thinking? And then it's like you never go back. Sorry, go ahead.
The only clients that I take on, like the organic like package now, is like clients that I actually like really believe in. It's like, dude, you're big enough to where you can act, because like we put our organic package, up there, right? Because it takes a lot more time, especially now that I've experienced that I can get you results here for this amount.
Yeah.
But I mean, if they need to build brand and actually believe in the company, we'll do that package. But the ad content method is, if you like time, money, and get client results,
it's a no-brainer. Yeah, no, dude, 100%. Like, and that's why I preach like, well, freedom on demand, because when you're stuck doing this other model where you're just creating content, like you got no time for yourself. Like you're having dinner with your family, and in the back of your mind, you're not even present because you're thinking about, dude, I need to go meet this deadline. I need to go edit. I need to answer this email, do this, this, and that. I got to manage the people. My editors, they didn't edit the way that I actually need them to. They made all these mistakes. I need to then now go in there and fix it myself. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, you can actually buy your time back, spend more time with your family, and go do the other things that you're passionate about. Like
you teaching that broke a limiting belief for me too, because like whenever you're only charging for organic, you can't really, and I'm not saying you can necessarily guarantee. I don't do a bunch of guarantees, like personally. It's just not really my forte. It's like I'll use this guarantee. It's like, dude, I can guarantee you that I'm going to bust my tail to make sure this works. And that's 100%. Like, I know you've taught that.
Yeah.
But like, you can't give them guarantees or get them like actual results fast with organic. So like, you can't really even charge high numbers.
No.
With the ads, you can get more predictable results. Therefore, you can charge a higher number. And now you can begin to actually delegate stuff.
Yeah.
And like, that was like the mind-blowing thing. Like the last couple of months, I'm like, oh, dude, now we're actually making money. So I can hire a videographer. I can hire an editor.
Yeah.
The only reason why I can do that is because following the FOD play, we can actually get results.
Dude, this has been great, man. I appreciate you so much, dude. I'm so happy for you, bro. Like, you deserve all the success you've been getting, all the success you will have. So congratulations, dude. What is, for anybody on the fence about FOD, right? What would you tell them, dude?
Yeah. If you don't move forward, what are you going to do? Like, it's exactly what it was. I weighed my options. I was like, if I don't sign up, this is where I'm going to be. Exactly where I was. If I do sign up, worst case scenario, I figure out how to run ads, and I add that to my tool belt. Nice. But if you're like me, I signed up and I had a little bit more than just learning ads, and gotten to know this guy, this man here, and the rest of the FOD team, and I genuinely, there's no way that I would have been able to go. I mean, like, it's straight up, like, if this next deal closes, in a matter of a few months, we, 10x our income.
That's amazing. And like the profit margins on it are just so much better than also the traditional, like, just content model, because that in itself is just too labor intensive. So even if you want to meet that demand, you need to hire more people fast, and therefore more money goes out, And so I don't know exactly what your profit margins are looking at right now, but I'm assuming they're probably pretty healthy.
Yeah, man. So we've got a lot of stuff outsourced and delegated. One of the things I do love team building and things like that. And so that's kind of that's finally opened the door for me to actually build a team, which I'm really loving.
Yeah.
But yeah, great. Well, not only monetary profit margins, but a little bit more time too.
Hell yeah, dude. Love it, bro. Anything else you want to share with the people, with the listeners before we finish off?
There's a lot. But yeah, man, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, I want to thank you, because like all the stuff, it's not, for a YouTube video. Like, not only have you impacted my family, but I think there's a lot of marketing agencies that really shaft companies
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
And I think you've given us the toolkit, the playbook to really help a lot of local companies create greater impact as well. So it's been really cool.
Yeah, dude.
And yeah, man, you can spend 100 hours watching YouTube videos and get really confused and then you not take action, or you can, hit up Luis and get the full playbook. And, like I said, I was rocking and rolling within a week.
Hell yeah, dude. Freaking love it, bro. Thanks so much for sharing that, man. Thanks for sharing your story with us. Really appreciate you. Hopefully we'll get you back over here once you hit 7 figures, all right?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, man. Thank you so much, bro.